Hey everyone, and welcome back. Get ready because today we're taking a deep dive into the world of social media.
A world that, let's be honest, is pretty hard to avoid these days.
Definitely inescapable.
Hmm.
We're diving deep into a fascinating research paper exploring the impact these platforms have on our lives. And let me tell you, it is packed with eye-opening insights. For example, did you know that in 2023, Facebook alone had over 3 billion users?
3 billion.
3 billion. To put that into perspective, that's almost half the planet. Imagine trying to get that many people to like one of your posts.
Talk about pressure to go viral. It's
Yeah.
incredible, isn't it? Such a staggering number, and it really speaks to how deeply integrated these platforms have become in our everyday lives.
Right. It's gone way beyond just sharing those vacation photos with friends, hasn't it?
Absolutely. This research points to social media's increasingly important role in shaping public opinion, influencing the choices consumers make, even playing a critical role in disaster relief efforts.
Disaster relief. Okay, now that's not something you typically associate with scrolling through Instagram or Twitter. Tell me more about that.
Well, the research actually highlights how platforms like Twitter, especially, have been used in really positive ways after disasters. Imagine a scenario, a hurricane hits, and people are turning to Twitter to connect with volunteers,
Wow.
to maybe find missing loved ones, or even to coordinate those crucial aid efforts. There's a study mentioned in here that specifically looked at how Twitter was used in this way to bridge that gap between, those desperately in need and those in a position to help.
That's truly inspiring. You know, it's so easy to get caught up in all the negative aspects of social media that we hear about, so it's good to be reminded of the potential for good as well.
Right.
But let's rewind a bit. You mentioned how social media is shaping public opinion, influencing what consumers like us are choosing. How's that actually playing out?
Think of it this way. Every time you like a post, every time you reshare a comment, you're contributing to this massive online conversation, right? And these platforms have become really powerful echo chambers where certain ideas are amplified, debated, and this, of course, have huge implications for how we're forming opinions about everything. I mean, everything, from political candidates to even just the latest fashion
Like
trends.
this constant feedback loop, isn't it? Our online interactions shaping the offline world. And it's not just individuals like you and I who are impacted. Businesses are really tuned into this too, aren't they?
Absolutely. This research draws on some really fascinating insights from the sixth and seventh annual International Social Media and Society conferences,
Those researchers probably needed their own social media detox after those, huh?
I'd say. But what they found was really interesting. Experts are recognizing that these platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, they're not just for sharing funny cat videos anymore, although those are great. They've become essential tools for businesses and organizations to communicate, to share information, and yeah, even shape those public discourses we were just talking about.
Okay, so we've gone from sharing vacation pics to influencing elections and now coordinating disaster relief. And it's all thanks to social media. It really is mind-blowing how these platforms have evolved and so quickly. But let's go back to those mind-boggling user numbers for just a second.
Yeah.
You mentioned Facebook hitting 3 billion, but the research also talks about LinkedIn reaching 364 million users and Twitter with 236 million. And what about Instagram? Wasn't its growth even faster?
You're absolutely right. Instagram's rise was incredibly rapid, exploding in popularity. It surpassed 300 million users in just a few short years. This kind of exponential growth is a testament to the power these platforms have to connect people, to transcend geographical boundaries. It's like we're all part of this digital town square now, where theoretically everyone has a voice and everyone has the potential to reach a global audience.
It's exciting,
Okay.
right? But also a little daunting. It's like we each have this incredible megaphone, but you also know your message could get lost in all the noise. It makes you think about how we can even begin to use these platforms effectively, both personally and for those businesses trying to make their mark in this new landscape.
Yeah.
It really is mind-boggling when you think about the sheer scale of these platforms and how they've become, like you said, this digital town square. But let's shift gears a bit and talk about how businesses are navigating this new landscape. It seems like every company, from the local bakery down the street to like huge multinational corporations, everyone's trying to figure out this whole social media strategy thing.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It's a complete paradigm shift from the days of traditional marketing, that's for sure. We've gone from just broadcasting a message to a passive audience to now it's all about engaging in these direct conversations with consumers.
It's about building relationships, right?
Exactly. Building those relationships, fostering trust, and becoming a part of the online community.
And this research highlights how blogs, especially, have become a really interesting case study for this. It's like businesses have really embraced this whole idea of like having a public diary online
Yeah.
where they can share updates, give people these behind-the-scenes glimpses, and connect with those customers on a more personal level.
Exactly. So imagine you're a loyal customer of a brand, right? And you can follow their blog to get the inside scoop on new product launches, company events, even just like the thought process behind your designs. It creates this level of transparency and authenticity that I think is really appealing to consumers, especially these days, where people really are craving those genuine
It's
connections.
like pulling back the curtain a bit,
Yeah.
showing the human side of the business.
Yeah.
And it's not just about sharing all those, feel-good stories, right? I mean, blogs can be a really powerful tool for addressing customer concerns, getting feedback on new ideas, and even turning those maybe negative experiences into opportunities for growth.
Absolutely. The beauty of blogs is that they allow for that two-way communication, right? Customers can comment on posts, share their thoughts, and actually feel heard. And this direct feedback loop can be so valuable for businesses, especially those looking to improve their products or services.
Yeah, it's like having a real-time focus group at your fingertips.
Yeah.
But let's not forget about the potential for things to just go totally viral on social media, too. I mean, remember that story about the company director who attributed 60% of their ticket sales for that music festival directly to social media marketing? It's amazing how a well-crafted campaign can capture everyone's attention so quickly and then translate into real, tangible results.
Yes. Oh, that's the dream, isn't it? It's a perfect example of just how powerful social media marketing can be when it's done right. It's not just about throwing money at ads anymore. It's about crafting, engaging content, sparking those conversations, and building that loyal online community that really resonates with your brand.
It's about creating a buzz, generating excitement, and tapping into that word-of-mouth marketing that's so influential these days.
Hmm.
But it's not all about flashy campaigns and going viral, is it? This research also touches on how businesses are actually using social media for much more strategic purposes, like market research.
Absolutely. Social media has become this gold mine of consumer data. Companies are realizing that instead of relying on those expensive and really time-consuming traditional market research methods, they can just tap into all this information that's constantly flowing through these platforms, like even Twitter.
Twitter, for market research. Okay, I'm intrigued. How does that work exactly?
Well, think about it. Every single day, millions of people are tweeting about their experiences, their opinions, their preferences. It's like this real-time stream of consumer sentiment that businesses can tap into. And this research actually analyzed how 5 major companies, Home Depot, Kmart, Walmart, Costco, and Kohl's, were already using Twitter to gather customer insights. They were paying attention to what people were saying about their products, identifying any emerging trends, and even spotting any potential PR disasters before they, escalated.
Wow, it's like having this direct line into the minds of your customers. You
Right.
can see their reactions to new product launches, understand their pain points, and then tailor your products or services to actually meet those very specific needs. That's incredibly valuable.
It is. And it's not just about gathering that data, it's about being really proactive and responsive. Let's say you're a company and you see all these negative tweets suddenly popping up about a recent product update. You can then address those concerns immediately, offer solutions, and potentially prevent a minor issue from turning into like a full-blown PR nightmare.
It's about staying ahead of the curve
Exactly.
and showing your customers you're listening, you genuinely care about what they have to say. This proactive approach, I think, is even more crucial when you think about how quickly information spreads online these days. It really is amazing how social media has become such a powerful tool for businesses to connect with their customers, get those insights, and even do damage control, all in real time. But speaking of impact, we can't ignore the elephant in the room, right? The impact of social media on teenagers. It's something that sparks a lot of debate and honestly, a bit of worry for some.
It's definitely a complex issue. This research really drives that home. I mean, think about it. Teenagers today, they've never even known a world without social media.
Right.
It's woven into the fabric of their social lives, their education, even their sense of self.
It's like their digital playground.
Hmm.
But as with any playground, there are swings and roundabouts. What does the research say about the potential upsides and downsides for teens?
Well, on the positive side, social media can be a really fantastic tool for teens to connect with other people who share their interests, right? Especially important for those who might be feeling isolated or misunderstood in their offline lives. And it can be a really powerful platform for self-expression and creativity. I mean, look at the rise of young musicians, artists, activists, all these teenagers finding their voices and building communities online.
That's a really good point. Social media can give teenagers this incredible platform to showcase their talents and connect with those like-minded people, but from all over the world. And we can't forget about the educational benefits, too. I mean, I've seen some really amazing educational content out there, from like science explainers to history documentaries.
Absolutely. Social media can be a gateway to just a wealth of knowledge and information, exposing teenagers to different cultures, different perspectives and ideas, broadening their horizons in ways that weren't even imaginable a generation ago.
Yeah.
But of course, we have to talk about the potential downsides too. One of the biggest concerns that this research highlights is this phenomenon called Facebook depression.
You mentioned that term earlier, and I have to admit it is a bit unsettling. What does Facebook depression actually look like for someone experiencing it?
Essentially, it's a form of depression that's linked to excessive social media use. Teenagers especially are vulnerable to this, the curated perfection that often permeates these platforms.
Right.
They're constantly bombarded with all these images of these seemingly perfect lives, which can lead to those unrealistic comparisons, low self-esteem, feelings of inadequacy.
It's that kind of age-old problem of comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel,
Yeah.
right? Only it's amplified now by this constant connectivity of social media. And then you add on the pressure to maintain a certain image online, the fear of missing out, the constant barrage of notifications.
Exactly. It's a lot for anyone to handle, let alone teenagers who are already dealing with all the complexities of adolescence, identity formation, social pressures. And then on top of all of that, we haven't even touched upon the very real risks of things like cyberbullying, online predators, privacy concerns.
It's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, where do we go from here?
Mm.
How do we even begin to empower teenagers to navigate this digital landscape safely and responsibly?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? This research really emphasizes the importance of open communication. Parents, educators, even peers need to have those honest conversations with teenagers about the potential risks that come with social media. It's about teaching them to be discerning consumers of information online, how to protect their privacy, and how to seek help if they need it.
It's about giving them the tools and knowledge to use social media in a way that's healthy, that's enriching, rather than letting it become something that causes anxiety and insecurity.
Exactly. It's all about finding that balance, encouraging teenagers to engage with social media, yes, but mindfully, to be those critical thinkers, to prioritize their well-being above everything else, and to remember that their worth is not defined by the number of likes or followers they have.
It's about reminding them that they can always log off, step away from the screen, and engage with the world offline. Sometimes a breath of fresh air and a good old-fashioned face-to-face conversation is exactly what we all need, no matter how old we are.
I couldn't agree more. So as we wrap up this deep dive into this multifaceted world of social media, I think the key takeaway here is this social media is a powerful tool with incredible potential for good. But like any tool, it needs to be used responsibly, thoughtfully.
We've seen how it can connect us, how it can inform us, even empower and inspire us, but we've also seen how it can be used to manipulate, to exploit, to sow division.
Yep.
Ultimately, the future of social media, its impact on society, it's really in our hands.
It is.
It's up to each and every one of us to be mindful users, to be critical thinkers, to be responsible digital citizens in this online world.
And to remember that the real world, with all of its complexities and imperfections, is still where life truly unfolds.
Beautifully said. And that is a wrap on this deep dive into the world of social media. But remember, even though our conversation here is ending, this is a topic that deserves way more attention, so keep thinking about it, keep talking about it, and most importantly, keep asking those tough questions. Because this digital world is constantly evolving, and it's up to all of us to shape it into a force for good.